last one. I think it was 22 saws in total. So we'll have a lot of whack-offs to come in the future with this season 2 of the Woodsman whack-off. I'm a little spent. That's a lot of switching out bars, and they get hot even whenever they're oiling well. They're hot to the touch. Those longer chains, what I noticed, first off, the wood was much harder at the beginning. Just was. It is what it is. We deal with it any way that we can, and it's hard to get an exactly perfect scenario. I did get it down here on the ground because it got too short. It was falling off of my logs over there, but you know, we managed, and who cares if they're perfect? I mean, if you're going to let that stuff bother you, that it wasn't absolutely perfect conditions, you know, I mean, don't let things get to you. But we're measuring these saws against each other as best we can in a nice big red oak log that, surprisingly, we used up every bit of it. I thought that I would have about that much left over, but clearly I didn't. But the longer bars and chains, take a minute to talk about those right out the gate here. So my big thing is run it directly out of the box, because anytime I bring in my skill set of sharpening, it gives you two things. One, inconsistency, because no matter who you are, I don't think that you can be super consistent, especially because the chain itself changes as you get with a smaller tooth. It will cut faster the smaller that tooth gets, so that breeds inconsistency. So that's why I like to do out of the box. The other thing is I want to let people know exactly what it is they're getting. And so, honest opinions about the longer bar. It's a bar. It's fine. Would I buy them personally? Because they are a sponsor of the channel. Sort of. I mean, I say sponsor, they're not paying me, but they sent me free bars to use. I'm very thankful for that. And but would I buy them personally? Yeah, it's a bar. They're not lightweight. They're typical standard bar. I haven't noticed the paint coming off in any unreasonable fashion. This one right here, it's got all total probably, because I cut with it with the 361 the other day. I think I ended up, you may have only seen 2, but I did probably 5 cuts with it, and then 3 Stihls today. So we're looking at 6, I don't know, about 12 cuts, and we have one little spot here where the paint is rubbing off. But the Husky bar, I've used it a whole lot. And anyways, the paint comes off of these bars. What I'm trying to get at is it coming off unreasonably fast? No. No. Do I notice any kind of wear whatsoever? Nope, none whatsoever. But if you're watching all of these longer series, you're gonna see every cut that I make with them, and it's not like it's a lot, but it isn't big wood, and they're long cuts. So one of these cuts are going to be like 2 or 3 standard cuts. So my point is the bars seem completely fine, and I would recommend you buying them because they are cheap. Right now, if you don't like made in China, then you don't like made in China. I don't really understand that myself, but I don't need to. I'm not you. So there you have it. Now the chains, let's speak specifically to the chains. The chains are absolute terrible right out of the box. Terrible. But what I did notice is they started getting faster. It's like, what is this really going on? So probably the wood softened up after the first 7 or 8 cuts. It got softer, and they started cutting better. in the softer, fresh, more moist oak, right? They did start cutting better. But regardless, out of the box, they're a bit blunt, you know? They're not real keen edge. They're a bit blunt. So if you ever was to get a chain and think, I got to sharpen it right out of the box, this is your chain to do that with. I don't know how well they'll sharpen up. That's yet to be seen. But my guess is they're going to be like every other Chinese chain. They look exactly like the chain that that you get for the Holtzforma. You know, they're probably all getting them from the same manufacturer. It's Chinese chain, what can I tell you? But would I buy them if I am strapped for cash? Of course, because this chain, it's a 24-inch, 84 drive length chain, and on their website, I think that it was $14 US. Oh, geez, you know? I mean, I'm paying 45 bucks a pop if I'm to buy that chain at a saw shop. You know, if I'm to buy that like at a Husqvarna C83. So it's like, hey, if you are willing to put in a little time and sharpen it up, I think it's just fine. But out of the box though, they are blunt, they are rough, they are grabby, and they're not grabby because the rakers are too low. They're grabby because the tooth is not sharp. So this is the straight Stihl on it. I don't care who sent me that, I'm not gonna lie. You know, I got it for free to do these tests with, and that's fantastic. But yeah, out of the box, you better hit them. Aside from that, it wore very well. So now this one, I do have two different chains. The Stihl is running a different chain because it's 063 bar gauge. All the Husky stuff and everything else was running a 058 gauge. And so I had to have them separate. The Stihl's got to run a separate one, but they're still out of the box. I didn't sharpen any of them. And that, the one that's on the Husky, so I did 19 different saws with that. 19. And there was some testing earlier, I think, you know, so we're looking at, you know, right off the top of my head, 40 or 50 cuts. And if anything, I noticed it get sharper. I know that seems weird, but maybe that blunt edge was worn off a little bit and they got a little bit sharper. But as far as do they last, I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's still a sharp chain. So, well, considering, is it going to cut like a C83? No. Is it going to cut like an Oregon EXL? No. Is it going to cut like a Stihl RS? No, absolutely not. But is it $40? No, it's $15. It's like $14 or $15. So with that in mind, it is an absolute steal of a value. If you're pinching pennies, you ain't got two nickels to rub together, get one of those chains, you know, and just hit it with the file. You probably, you know, I wish I had done it, you know. I didn't know it was going to be that blunt, you know, but probably just a few swipes with a round file, and that out of the box blunt feeling that it has, where it's hitting the wood, you know, it's not really slicing through it so much, it's just hitting it and tearing it. That would probably go away. Also, it clearly makes a much bigger difference the size of saw that you're running. On these bigger saws, I didn't notice much of anything. They just push right through it. They just ripping through the wood. It would also make a difference if you're cutting softwood as well. This stuff's hard, man. This stuff is hard, especially at the front there. Whew, it was hard. So before I get off of here and then wrap this video up, I want to say the MS361. Now the reason I ran all the Stihls last is it just fell that way. There's no other reason, right? But I had just got done running 372 XP, 2171, 281 XP, Dolmar 7900, 585 XP, 592 XP, and then I grabbed that 361. Man, was that thing nice to have in my hands. I did a side-by-side comparison just in my hands like this between it and the 359, and it definitely feels lighter than the 359 does. It definitely does. I mean, is it? I don't know, but I think that it is. And going from those bigger saws down to that little 361, the MS 361, it was a pleasure. Now, it didn't have much power, but you know, it's a 60cc saw versus all of these. I just got done running a 592 XP. You know, it doesn't have nearly the power that has. Plus, it's completely bone stock. And so, I like that 361. I can see why people think so highly of it, because it's got good power, nothing great, but it's still, I need to modify it, and then it'll be great. I'm pretty confident in that. But it's light, well balanced, lightweight. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's lighter than that 359. It is light. So, anyways, I'll go ahead and release this video today, or probably tomorrow, because I already got 2 more coming out today. We'll see how it goes. But I'll release this video, and then the whack-offs, we're going to change it up. They used to come out on every Wednesday. Now I'm going to have them coming out every Saturday. So, it's going to be the weekend whack-off.